Hey folks, got another wee story for you, once again from this book by Tim Porteous. This time, Black Agnes of Dunbar. So this is a tale based on a real person and a real event. Lady Agnes Randolph was called Black Agnes because of her black hair. She was an incredibly brave and courageous woman whose story has been told over hundreds of years. The story is set in Dunbar Castle. Agnes lived in the early 1300s. It was a terrible time of war with England. In January 1338, Agnes was in charge of Dunbar Castle as her husband was away. With only a few soldiers and maids to defend the castle, her enemies thought it would be easy to capture it. But they were wrong. Here she tells her story. Black Agnes of Dunbar. I was sitting with my maidservants when Walter, one of my trusted soldiers, rushed into the room in a panic. "Soldiers on horses are outside the walls, my lady, led by a knight in armour. They are carrying an English banner," he said. "The knight wants to speak to you." I have to admit, my heart was pounding with nerves, but I kept calm. I went to the highest tower and I looked down on them. The leader of the force was a nobleman called Sir William. He looked magnificent in his armour, but I didn't tell him that, of course. I knew he was a very important leader. At first, he was very nice to me. He called me fair lady, and even offered me gifts if I would open the gate. He seemed to think that I would be bribed with presents. So I told him straight, "I hae nae need of jewels, and I will open the gates, but only to my husband, no to you." But he wasn't listening. He started to call me Bonnie, and I said I was beautiful. He would like to marry me. Marry me? I was already married. Who did he think he was? That was enough. I didn't want to listen to his nonsense anymore. So I threw a glove at him. You see, in my day, when you threw a glove, it was called throwing down the gauntlet. It meant you were challenging the other person to a fight. Sir William's men laughed when my glove floated down at his feet. Then they clapped me. I think they didn't expect me to stand up to them. They expected me to give in just because I'm a woman. Now they knew differently. Sir William's face changed. He stopped being nice and was now angry. "So if it's a fight you want, you'll have one," he shouted. So I shouted back at him. "Of Scotland's king, I had my house. He pays me meat and fee, and I will keep my good old house, while my house will keep me." Then I stood with my arms folded in defiance. I wondered what he was going to do. I didn't have long to find out. Sir William brought forward his mangonels. You might not know what a mangonel is, but if I say a giant catapult, you might get an idea. Soon, huge rocks were being fired from the catapults and smashing into the walls. I will admit it was terrifying when they came crashing down. I hid within the walls with my soldiers and maids, but they were just as determined as I was not to give in. The bombardment lasted for a long time, but the walls of the castle had been recently rebuilt and could withstand even this battering. As long as we kept our nerve and courage, this would not work. Finally, the bombardment stopped, and I had an idea. I told the maidservants to bring their dusters, and we went out into the battlements. "We are not afraid of your silly rock throwing," I shouted to Sir William. "But look at this. What a mess ye have made." We then cleaned and dusted the battlements and ramparts. "Och, what a dusty mess," I said, mocking their attempts to frighten us with their catapults. The English soldiers began to laugh, but Sir William was furious. We wondered what he would do next. The following day, there was a great rumbling noise. When I looked out to see what it was, I saw the Sow. It was an enormous battering ram on wheels, protected with a wooden roof above it. They were pushing it towards the front gate. They were going to use the sow to batter down the door. I pretended I wasn't bothered. "Take good care of that sow, Sir William," I shouted, "for soon the wee piglets under it will be running." I ordered my men to heave the biggest rock that had been shot at our castle onto the edge of the battlements. On my order, they tipped it over the edge. It landed on the roof of the sow, and it smashed it to bits. The men underneath went running, while we poured boiling oil onto them. "Run, wee piglets, run!" I called out. Sir William was hopping about like a rabbit, ranting and raving. What would he try next? Well, he attempted to bribe one of my guards, but that didn't work because my guards were loyal to me. We almost captured Sir William himself that time. We held out for 5 months. Yes, 5 months. It was hard, especially when food was running out, but some local people came in small boats to an entrance on the seaward side and delivered us food. I went up to the tower and dangled fresh bread and meat to show Sir William we had food. "Oh, yummy. You want some?" I called out to him and his soldiers, but this made him really nasty. The next thing he did was bring my dear brother to the castle walls. I thought, oh no. But I had to keep my cool. Sir William said he'd hang my brother if I didn't open the gates. But guess what I did? I just folded my arms and said, "Well, go ahead then, and do it. I'm no bothered. In fact, you'd be doing me a favour, because if you kill him, then I'll inherit all his money." I did care, of course. I was just bluffing. But he thought I was serious and thankfully didn't hang him. But that was really a very stressful moment. There were fun moments too. A friend of mine called Alexander arrived at the sea gate with 40 men. When he and his men later charged out of the front gate in a surprise attack, I couldn't stop laughing at the sight of Sir William's men running away. I think that was the last straw for Sir William. On the 10th of June, 1338, he gave up and he left with his men. We had won. We had won. I had held the castle with my men and maids for 5 months. Later, Sir William was said to have written a song about me, and it went like this. "She kept astir in tower and trench, that brawling, boisterous Scottish wench. Came I early, came I late, I found Agnes at the gate." Aye, well, he calls me names, but the truth is, he didn't like that I beat him, and proved that women can be just as brave as men. Braver. So that was Black Agnes of Dunbar. Hope you enjoyed it. Cheers.